So if you are a female, if you are my gender, I think this is time for you to open your ears to learn the easiest and smartest way to scale up the academic ranks and become who you really want to be in the academic setting. So to help us handle this topic and dissect it correctly with much accuracy and evidence, on how they also did that, call up on stage Professor Helen Ayo Omoge. She is a professor of food science and technology. I'm also going to invite another professor of food science and technology, Professor Omoba. Please, let's put our hands together as she comes up. And then we'll have another doctor who is into environmental impact assessment, anything, ask her. She don't need to read, she will give you the answer. Encyclopedia standard. Please put your hands together as I welcome Dr. Dayat Akindele to join them on the high table. Please sit down. So the moderator for this discussion session is no other, the one and only, Dr. Janet Igbaro. Please put your hands together for her. She's the Deputy Director, Center for Health Professionals and Biomedicals, right? Biomedical Education. Thank you so much. So please, ladies, let's open our ears and learn.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. Yeah, this is an opportunity to be here to anchor this discussion period. Yes, we are going to be looking at a very important topic as women in science, navigating academics and personal challenges as a female scientist. As a female, there are so many things we want to look at. Our goal setting, how are we able to achieve that? Our time management, life study balance and life work balance. How have we been able to be productive even in our set career? And as it has been introduced earlier by the moderator anchoring the second faculty conference, we have here on board Professor Mrs. Omoba. She is a food scientist. So I would like to start with her. As a professor and a woman and a mother, how did you get to this point as a professor? How were you able to navigate, the home front, the career, and how were you able to carry out some of this scientific analysis that is expected in our career? Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you for this invite and this opportunity. To answer that question, I would like to say that as a woman, it's not something that is easy at all. If you want to be successful in your career, it wasn't easy, and it is still not easy. But the truth is that as a woman, for you to be successful, the first thing is that you have to set your priorities. You must know what you want. Because if you don't know what you want, there are so many challenges, there are so many things you battle with that are discouraging. And like I said, it depends on individual and what your priority is. So the first thing is that you must set your priority and know what your priority is. Some people, their career is that priority. They want to get there. And for some people, it's their home. But as a woman, I would like to say that the home front is very important. If there is no peace at the home front, Even when you get there, you will come down. So, what is important is that priority, what you have set as your priority. So, the peace in the home, for me, the peace in the home is more important than what I am today and what I will still be in this career tomorrow. Because if you don't have the support at the home front, there is nothing you can achieve. If you are a woman, you are a professor, but your children are nowhere to be found, then what have you achieved? So you must, as a woman, you must be able to balance everything, carry your husband and your children along while you are going, and in doing that, there must be balances. There will be some give and take. Definitely, you may not be able to run at the speed you desire. Definitely, you may not be able to run as others are running. And having said that, I would like to say that as a woman, if you want to be successful in this career, you must not compare yourself with anybody. Just go at your own pace. I have a slogan, and the slogan is, slow and steady wins the race. There is no cat and dog race. I don't compete. I'm not ready to run with you. In fact, if I see that you are trying to run with me, I would rather step down. So after moving, I will follow. Because, you know, different homes, different things, different challenges. So if I'm comparing myself now with Mrs. Y, my husband is not Mr. Y. I don't know what he's using to satisfy his husband, and the husband has left her to be flying up and down. Do you understand me? So you have to study where you have found yourself, and you have to take good advantage of where you are and work accordingly so that you can be successful. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, ma'am. So, Prof, I've been able to giving us some basic things that we need to know. Your priority. You must be able to set your priority right, because that will assist you to be able to manage your time. And she also mentioned that you don't need to compare yourself. We are not saying that you should not be updoing, but study yourself and know what it takes for you to be able to arrive at your destination, slow and steady. Yeah, the next professor, that's Professor Eileen. She's a professor of food and industrial microbiology. And you know what it means for you to be in the lab. So, ma'am, for a young scientist, probably in our postgraduate program, still running a PhD, or even as a lecturer with research and teaching, how will she be able to manage her time and with the facilities that is available? Because there is a thing that you have a goal you have set and the facility is not there. So as a woman, ma, how do you think we'll be able to manage our time to be able to achieve our goals? Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you very much. First of all, I would like to say something before I go on to answer that question.
Okay.
As a woman, if you find yourself in academics, let me say it here and now. I'm sorry to use that word, but academics is not for lazy bones. In this case, we are women. It's not for lazy women. That's number one factor. Number two, there is no concession per se, should I say preferences given that because you are a woman, they have to take it easy on you, and where men are expected to present meets with the basic requirement for promotion, 12 papers, journal articles or whatever, and because you are a woman, you'll be given the concession of presenting 10. There is nothing like that. So it means you are expected to work at the same level with the men. That's on one side. And number two, most times we have a problem, I'm sorry to say again. We carry this gender disparity in our head, gender biases and all of that. Yes, this is what we experience every day in the workplace. And let me state it here. It's a global issue. It is not a national issue. It is not a local issue or challenge. It's a global challenge. And despite these challenges, these gender biases and stereotypes and all of that, women all over the world have been able to succeed and make significant contributions to their area, discipline, and the rest of them. And so we have a duty, first of all, when we find ourselves in academics, to tell ourselves the truth that this is a male-dominated domain, area. And finding myself here as a woman, I have to succeed. Now, I'm going to say something that will work for us as women. Naturally, a woman is wired to multitask. A woman can conveniently do several things at the same time and still succeed at every one of them. That's a blessing from God. And I know why God did that, because he knew the task he was going to give us. And he's expecting us that we would thrive in our workplaces, thrive in our home fronts. Everything we lay our hands, we should excel. And I'm sorry if you are not a Christian, the Bible says that you have been empowered to do all things. You are to succeed in Philippians. However, you cannot do all things. I will explain why. Now, the fact that we have been blessed or wired to multitask, many of us cannot control that, and we cannot manage that. From my study, I found out that multitasking reduces your productivity by 40%. And I tell women, you cannot do everything. And sometimes some of us think we are not good, or should I say excellent women, because we can't do some things. You cannot bake, you cannot sit your girl child and plait her hair, you cannot do some things, you think you are not okay. No. Personally, I pay people to do some things for me. I don't need to sit down and use very, very important time that I will use to do some major things that will contribute to my career and the home front, and I will sit my daughter down. I've never done it in my life, tying her hair, and I don't see it as a misnomer. I don't have to do it. There are people, in any case, how will they eat if you don't pay them to do it? Pay somebody to do some things for you. So just like she said, one of the major things for me, if you find yourself in academics as a woman, even in fact, this is general, both the men and women, it applies to all of us. If you don't have passion for academics in the first place, you will almost be frustrated out of the job. So in case you found yourself here, let me say by error or mistake, maybe you were looking for a job and there was no option, this came and you took it, please go and get passion. Because you need passion. Because passion is what will drive your goal. It will drive your vision. Why? Because you will come face to face with challenges that will almost want to drive you out of the system. But because you are passionate, you love this thing. If you wake me up, I tell people this is the only job I've ever applied for. I came into the university system as a technologist. I stayed for 7 years. I grew to a senior tech before I now converted to lectureship. And I started from AL, and to the glory of God today, I owe it all to God. I'm here. And so, because of my passion, There were things that confronted me that should pull me out. But I said, no, I love this thing I'm doing. So first of all, if you must succeed at this job, you must love it. Because that is what will drive you. Number two, like she said, you have to prioritize. Prioritize your work schedule. Now, let me say again, you probably are a postgraduate student, you are working, you are married or you are not married. Now, for an average woman, of course, I know at the end of the day, some women may end up not marrying, not because they chose not to marry, but for an average woman, it's expected that you will get married. Let me state it here. Decide now that I am going to succeed at everything. It has to be a personal decision, because we have seen, like my senior mommy said here, that some women, they will pursue career and their home front is zero. But if you make up your mind from day one that I'm going to succeed at my home front and in my career, you will actually succeed. You know why? Because it is a goal. You will work towards it. So prioritize, decide to succeed, and go for that success. Give it all it will take. So in prioritize, you prioritize your work schedules, you prioritize your family and all of that, and then set targets. As a young academic, you must set targets. At the end of this month, at the end of this year, how many articles, let me start with manuscripts. How many manuscripts would I have pushed out? Because let me tell you the truth, if you don't set that target, at the end of the year, in fact, at the end of 3 years, you will just wake up and, man, this is promotion year and nothing to show. So you have to set that target that at the end of this year, I want to have I'm putting it on myself to ensure that I would have pushed out this number of articles. And don't forget, the fact that you have pushed out 10 articles doesn't mean that at the end of the year, you will get 10 published. You may not even publish any one. If you are so lucky and so blessed, you may end up getting one published. So that means that is part of academics. You will get a lot of rejection, especially as a young academic. But as you grow older, you will get to understand that these are the demands of journals, what they expect, and all of that. And then another thing I want to say, there is the part of support. Your support system is very, very, very important. Who are your support system? You must get a family that is supportive, friends that are encouraging. If you have somebody who is always dragging you down, please let that person go. And for those people, ladies who are not married, it's very important here, please. The spouse to be is very, very important. If your spouse is not inclined, every time you are working, spouse to be, sorry, and every time I see you on this system, don't you get tired? I better close this thing, go and rest. I better leave this thing. That's a red card for you, except of course you will want to leave academics. But if you want to continue in academics and you have a spouse to be who is always talking you down on your job, please, it's a no-go zone. You don't carry that kind of person along, because you will go nowhere. It will drag you up. I've had to travel a lot, and each time I traveled, my husband would always be the one to, I've never had a housemaid all my life. He would be the one to babysit, cook for the children, take the children. In fact, there was a time I was even home. I was sick for about 6 months. I was not that kind of sickness, you know. I was sick. I could not go to the office. I was doing nothing else but waking up in the morning, bathing. He would have prepared my breakfast, my lunch. He would pack everything for me. He would take the children to school. And all I needed was just bed rest. And he did that. So you must have a strong support system with respect to your spouse. And then another support system are your colleagues. You must collaborate. There is no island. In fact, they say, how do they say? It doesn't make an island, or a tree doesn't make a forest. In academics, it really, really works. Now, I want to say something. We have a problem in academics. Some people will cover. I don't want anybody to know what I'm doing. You are a local champion. Collaboration adds value to your work. It brings out the beauty in your work. It brings out the uniqueness in your work. Somebody else is seeing the same thing you are seeing from another perspective. At the end of the day, you will be dazzled with what research you have designed and what somebody else will bring from it. Like they say, the sky is so wide, we are all allowed to fly and excel and shine. So please stop hiding and continue to remain a local champion. And then if you want to publish, I guess we know now, if you want to publish in the so-called Q1 journals, you don't do a local, narrow, designed research. So please, then I've talked about mentorship. Mentorship is very, very important. Now, there's a problem in academics, especially for the young academics. Probably they don't know that in academics, there is what we call hierarchy. And unfortunately, some of our professors, probably during their time, because of advancements in internet, they did not have that so much technology. And some of us who are of the younger generation, we feel, after all, is your name is Google Scholar? Is your name in this? Do they know you? But that old professor, whose name is not in Google Scholar,